Welcome, everybody, to The Art of a Peaceful Mind. My name is Kim Root, your host, and today we're going to be talking with Michelle Howe. She is the founder of Empath Evolution. She's a powerful healer and teacher and speaker. She works with high vibrational energies, and she's an empath, and she helps people to strengthen their heart and clear energies. And let's invite her in so she can explain better than I can. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? It's so exciting to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So let me start with a question about being empathic, since that's what you are here to talk about today. So how do you define an empath or empathic?
Well, many people everyone's got their own definition of it. For me, an empath is that person that is warm, caring, nurturing, that others feel comfortable sharing their stories with. And although everyone has emotions and everyone, we're all human, we're all here, there are some of us that just can hold that space for other people without judging them, and that is an empath. Most empaths, many times, like for me, I didn't even know this word existed for 40 years. So it's a way of being in the world. It's more of a feeling approach. Even though you might have a logical mind, you tune into people, you tune into surroundings, and you're actually connecting with a lot more than you realize. Typically, empaths will struggle to some degree because their sensitivity is all different and their situations are all different. But anxiety, overwhelm, those are the mild versions, and they could be depression and mental disorder on the extreme end, because there's just more impacting us than others. So in some ways, we may feel delicate or sensitive, like we're just absorbing more. We can feel more. And the way I look at it is our auras are more porous. Actually, it's been not just the way I look at it, but it has been, if you read any of the books, Rose Tree is one of the pioneers with empath work. She did studies, and our aura is more refined, meaning it's more fluid. You can actually walk in a room and feel more, and you can feel the whole room, where most people are just refined, back into their thing, not paying attention. And that's why an empath gets overwhelmed with,
So do you find people are just born that way, they happen to be that way, or can people, I guess another question is, if people find that they're having those kinds of struggles that you're talking about, that maybe they are empathic and they didn't know it?
Everybody's empathic to a degree, all right? Just most of us are not aware that we're being impacted by the energies around us. And then we turn to many people, addictive behaviors. We find ways to cope. We're coping with something we don't even know is impacting us, which is very interesting. I look at everybody as empathic to a degree, unless you are totally closed it all off. I want nothing to do with being nice or emotions. I'm shut down. I don't want to know this feeling thing. And there are people that do that on purpose because they can't handle it. So they turn everything off. Right. Whereas that makes them more, I want to say narcissistic, more, so those are not my people. My people are the ones whose heart is there. They can connect with what's happening around them, and they want to help other people. And they could be, technically, there's a lot of people I think in recovery that are very empathic. They've been traumatized and they can't release it. So my work is to get that individual to understand the energetics of healing and how to interact in a smart way. I call it energy smarts with the environment and energy smarts with yourself. And knowing what you're looking at in the world, because we can feel the world and we can quote unquote judge or project what we see out there as not ours. But once we get a different perspective on what we're looking at, we'll experience the world in a totally new way. And then we can actually transform ourselves because we are so invested in the stories and in the truths that we think are there. Like we become just wise empaths, period. That in that sense, you hold space. You can assist other people because most empaths are actually, a lot of them are energy healers. We're healers. Naturally, we transmute energy. The issue being, if we don't know what that actually means, we can get so weighted down by negativity that we feel we take ownership. We're down. We're down. And that's not a good place to be, because then you look at this quote unquote gift as a curse. Mm-hmm. So there's some skill involved in all this. I tell people, I say, it's not like just easy peasy. I mean, I wouldn't say this is an easy road, but if this is where you're at and this is what's happening, it's in your best interest to understand more.
So is that what you do? You help people with that process?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I start with, where are you at? What are you dealing with? And then I sort of like layering a cake. I have to see what they know, what they don't know, where they're at. And I look at them as far as sensitivity. How sensitive are they? How wounded are they? How skilled are they? Like, what is the next thing that they need to really grasp? Because if they're bleeding, I need to kind of stop the bleeding first and then teach them the skills that I feel are important. And then it totally changes them, because during the sessions, so I do private sessions, I do workshops, I'm here to share the skills that I've learned, but also the wisdom behind how do you become more grounded, more of yourself? How do you become like that very strong empath who can hold the light? Because there is a specific path to it, and it's the more you get into it, the more you know, and it's really it's fascinating, it's cool. I've found that the people I work with, you give them a little bit, they want a lot more. Give me more. So my job is to teach about energy smarts, spiritual knowledge, just how does energy work within the spiritual life that you're living? What is it that you need to consider? And how, I call it the journey of self-healing. Where are you at? How are you feeling? What's your body feeling like? What do you need to step into or step back from to become stronger in your presence, so you can do whatever sparks you? You can live your best life, is what I like to say. So
that's kind of the journey you take people on, yeah. As they work with you.
Yep, as they're ready, step by step, they incorporate. Like sometimes we have knowledge, but reading knowledge is one thing. Incorporating it into your life and being that version, feeling good. I ask people, how are you feeling? That's the biggest question. How does that answer feel to you? How does that direction feel to you? And we're so used to thinking that it seems like we can't even necessarily put words to feeling. I'm like, guess what? You may not be able to put a word to it, but you will start becoming a pro at discerning what is higher vibration, what is lower, what is this emotion, what is that emotion, what is mine, and what belongs to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Because when I told you for 40 years, I didn't really know anything about anything that I'm talking about. Right. All I knew was that I was moody. I was moody. I'd get overwhelmed. For some reason, I might wake up anxious some days. I did end up on antidepressants at one point because my head would not shut up. would not shut up. And it was too much. So, when you're living like that, I remember after I took the antidepressants, I was so calm. And I'm like, oh my God, do people live like this? I have never lived this calm my whole life. Like, I always had something rummaging around in my head, driving me. And I knew certain things would help me, but even that in and of itself can become like an addictive behavior to help yourself. So, there's a fine line between being balanced, healthy, centered, and being just dealing with life and having good days, bad days, up and down, up and down, up and down. It takes a toll on your body, and it's really not the quality that I think we can embody here.
So how did you then find the way through that in your life? You said that like finding the word empath or empathic was a wake-up call for you, or a helpful thing to come across because you hadn't heard it.
Yeah.
So how did you fill that bridge or that gap?
How did I move into it?
How did you move into it? Right.
Well, first I had to have an awakening, because just I think I was so sure that I knew what I was doing my whole life that I don't think if I had just heard this over a promotion or whatnot, I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, that's fine, that's okay, that's the latest and greatest thing. So my life had to somewhat slap me in the face,
right,
in order for me to take another look and say, hey, this is something. What is this? So basically I went through an awakening experience, which had me on a roller coaster of emotion and had me questioning what the heck just happened. I tried traditional psychotherapy, and I could technically psychoanalyze the psychologist. So what she said was not going to work. And I went into the metaphysical field, and I was always drawn in that arena. And I started to research and read and find, and then I ran into the word empath. And it was a really easy transition once I saw the word empath, and then highly sensitive came up, and then different people started coming in that just sparked me. I'm like, oh my God, if this is me, and I've always psychoanalyzed people, like it was just my pastime. Like, let me see who you are. Let me see who you are. And I started taking reading nonstop. Mentors that were teaching me or helping move me through what I now call a dark night of the soul. Because when you go through an awakening that has you questioning who you are, and you are, and technically I went through a depression. I went through a lot of things, and it took a couple years, if not more. I needed to be able to heal and move beyond where I was to get to a place where I could be stronger. And there was no shortcut about it. So I got a lot of teachings that way from a mentor. And then I became Reiki certified. I became integrated energy therapist. I just started taking all the course on intuitive developments and energy work that I could find. And then I started my business, and I started learning about spiritual laws. And then I started fine-tuning it even more. What are the practices that I think are here? And I started connecting to my energy body, and I activated my Kundalini, and I did a bunch of different things that I went down rabbit holes. Like, I just was this really curious little one. I'm gonna call it a squirrel. I just learned a bunch of different things, and I now know what they all are because I explored them. So for the new ones that come up on the scene, what can I say? I'd say, see what you're ready for. Because sometimes there's a lot of things out there, tons of things. It's, are you ready for that step on the journey? Are you ready? Are you receptive to it? Can you discern whether something it feels right to you or doesn't feel right to you? And can you trust what you're feeling? Like, that's probably the biggest hurdle. for myself and for others, like trusting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look out there, and I'm very active on Facebook, and I follow lots of different teachings because I like to see what they're doing. You know, sometimes you can question, do I know what's going on? What is right for me? And basically you're overwhelmed. You need to kind of step back. And because everyone's selling you things, they all think what they sell is the best thing that's going to solve everything in your life. Well, you know what? We're here to take the reins, and we're here to follow our guidance and what's next for us. And we're here to help others, and others are here to help us. So it's not like a standard, oh yeah, you know, I got the recipe, we're set the rest of my life. The recipe keeps on changing and it gets a little more complicated. So to stay open to what's next and to not allow, or to realize actually the strength of your mind and strength for you to create what you want, what you want to experience, and for you to learn from the experiences that you have, that you attracted those experiences for a reason, not because you're bad or not because it was wrong, but because you in some way needed that for your own soul development. Mm-hmm. If you can like take the gold, the nugget out of every experience and learn from it, it's just makes life exciting. It's fascinating, actually. So
yeah, well, also I mean I feel that, you know, when you go through those, the harder time you go through, the more deep you can go inside yourself, and the more you can understand another person once you're in a position of being able to listen or help. I mean, I think people can, well, everybody can help people in if they want to in some kind of way, and be a healer if they can listen.
If they can listen, if it's the right time, you can step into something. Mm-hmm. So we're all like works in progress.
Right.
You know, it's just a matter of accepting where I am and just moving with it without getting, I'm not as good, I'm not enough, I didn't do this. I have a friend who did a little bit of work with me, and at one point she goes, Michelle, there is no competition. There's 7 million people in this world. Like, so there's lots of people doing what we're doing right now, which is good, but we're all on the same team. I'm like, we just need to make sure that we realize that instead of like seeing some kind of a conflict, we support one another, we move forward. Yeah.
Right. And we can all grow all together.
Yeah.
That way.
Absolutely.
That's exciting. Right. That's really great. So let's see.
You're at a loss for words.
I'm at a loss for words. I mean, I run into people all the time who are, what is my question? I teach yoga, and I do healing and work with people, and notice a lot of times what you're talking about, people feeling like I'm not enough, or what's my right path. There's a lot of confusion, and what is my question? So how does someone start? Or, oh, I know my question. What is, I forgot again.
What advice would I give them? First, they need to learn about being an empath. Then they learn about becoming a skilled empath. Then they become the wise empath. And all along the way, they're learning. And they find their tribe. And they learn with that. Because energy is, go in a negative room you'll start feeling negative. Like you need to be really cognizant of where you're going and who you want to be, who you are, who you want to be, and what's happening when you're interacting with other people. I mean, I've put into place so many different things for myself. And it's not, when you are sensitive and when you are serious, you see this as a mission. You see your life as a purposeful.
Right.
So it's developing, when I say strengthen your heart because you're not here to judge, but you're here watching a lot of things happening all at one time.
Right.
So, and you may need to hold space for someone who's been traumatized and they may even be the perpetrator that's now trying to heal. So your heart needs to be strong enough that that it's unconditional. It's expansive. It's unconditional. You understand that you're here for a purpose, and so is that other person. Like they become part of you. Like that whole law of one. There is a law of one. We are really all one on a higher level. But here, it's like we're in school. Some of us just need to be who we are, and some of that, it's like a dramatization. Like most people, what you create on the outside is really, in truth, what's the muck that's on the inside. You're creating it outwardly so you can technically see it if you can look at it and look at it that instead of blaming everybody, you look in the mirror and you say, guess what? I just created that. What did that teach me? Mm-hmm. Wow. You know what I mean? Do I have that kind of how can I tweak what's here? So, I mean, there's no like one formula. It's a step-by-step process. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things that are outside of that whole box that I have learned that still blow my mind. But energetically, there are a lot of energy truths that I don't necessarily plan to talk about unless someone is advanced and they've seen it, they've witnessed it, they understand it, that can come into our field. That's why I tell people that are empaths, you really need to learn how to do your daily clearing. Mm-hmm. It's the most important thing you'll ever learn to do. And to get yourself to a place where you're not on a roller coaster, riding a roller coaster with anyone, but you can find the middle. Because the way most people think, the way most communities and most of the world looks at life, it's right or wrong, good or bad. You need to be able to sit right in the middle and not get pulled in either direction. Otherwise, you become part of the whole chaos, part of this whole scheme that's going on. To be centered means I know who I am, and whatever is around me, I don't have to pull into me to be that. To be like, I could have chaos and I'm still okay.
So how do people know then where their center is? If they have, like in the beginning of them becoming aware of themselves, they're getting pulled in different directions and they don't know, like you said before, they have to find what is their right way. How do they know that? So many times people are so confused. And they're more aware of outside than inside. They can't hear it or they can't listen.
So they're confused. So what I would recommend is get away from somebody or get away from crazy. Mm-hmm. Get by yourself. Do that for at least a day, maybe 2 days. Just cut yourself some slack. That means even electronics. Like give yourself that break and put yourself somewhere that it's just beautiful energy all around you, which is nature, the beach. That energy there, it comes right into you. You can't help but love when you're feeling so much beauty around you. So you get yourself in that space, and I recommend you journal to see what stories are coming up, but then to see yourself work into a neutral voice as you're writing, because sometimes we can't believe what we think. The thoughts are too muddled, too broken, too disjointed. Sometimes they're not even our own thoughts. So you have to step away to get clear of what could be impacting you, and then just do your writing. And you don't really take it seriously until you see an even unemotional tone in your writing that is a soft space.
Mm-hmm.
It's not jarred one way or another. This is good, this is bad, I was right, I was wrong. You're then connecting with something that's pure, that has your best interest in mind. So anything that comes into your head that's negative, that's not really divine. That is just our mind totally out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to kind of decipher between a higher mind versus my little mind. Just thought of this, I'm just out of my mind right now, I'm so confused. You have to kind of move away. You see it, you feel it, you know it. All right, in this type of state, I do nothing. I make no decisions. I wait till I am more clear. So I'm calm. I make my decisions when I'm calm, not when I'm muddled with whatever is happening in me. So does that answer it?
Yeah. So I noticed different levels of not thinking. I mean, people can be lost in thinking, people can be lost in emotion, and people can settle back down into this quiet place inside.
Yeah.
Where they can see more clearly. What I've noticed for myself as I've gone through different stages, or even now when I'm doing my practice well and meditating and meeting a lot of people for healing, or things that make me center, the difference between that and when my mind is very busy and I get lost in the right and wrong and back and forth, that of course when I'm in the center, or when I'm at that quiet place, I can still see the talking, but it's I can see the conversation and the talking, but I'm looking at it from a more compassionate place, even toward myself. Right?
Yeah. You're detached. You're
right. It's a detachment.
You're observing what's going on.
Right. So that place of observation where you can have some, compassion even for yourself, then you can have compassion for other people.
Well, and I don't think I know, but it starts with us. Mm-hmm. I find so many people, they're worried about this person, that person, they're serving, they're giving. I'm like, this is your journey.
Uh-huh.
What are you learning? Like, at the end of the day, like, can you give to yourself? Oh, I'm not enough, I can't do that. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like we end up, I would like to see everyone explore like what a state of joy, like love themselves and be here enjoying their life. Right. So, up or down, here or there, as long as you're enjoying it, you're okay. It's the moment where you're self-defeated by it. And we create so much with our mind. Our reality is our perception. It's our thoughts. The thoughts bring the feelings. It's all like this convoluted mix that if we don't slow down ourselves to get clear, to get centered, we're just running.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. And I know in today's day and age, it's really hard to kind of step back, center, we've got so much stuff to do. There's so much going on. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm not on the right page each day, especially since I do energy work, like within the workshops that I do, I will teach about emotional empowerment or energetic sensitivity or inner peace. But then there's always a part that is energy healing for the group. Mm-hmm. And that's channeled. And that is huge because energy work It's not even me doing the work, it's spirit. Energy work is allowing you to tune into your higher self, and that is allowing you to bring forward a new version of you every day. So that's just the tip of the iceberg right there, because it's actually really cool.
Cool. Can you hear me?
You're going a little slow with your internet connection.
Something happened. Your voice is all vibrating. Try again if you get calmed down.
You're going slow. Can you hear me now?
You're all waking up.
Yeah, hold on. Can you hear me now?
It's vibrating every time you speak. There's a lot of vibration.
Yeah, there's a lot of you doing that same thing. You're actually going really slow on the mic, on the computer. Let me try something different. All right, now I'm on my computer. Microphone, can you hear me now? Yeah.
There.
Kim, she knows what she was doing.
That's better, right?
Oh, you back? Yeah. What happened?
I think my connection on my computer loosened up, and so the battery was running out as we were going. So we'll cut that part out.
Okay.
All right. So we're coming to near the end. So would you like to share some more specifically about what you offer to people? Because I know you do private sessions, you do group sessions, and you have something online, the way to work with people in groups online program.
Okay, so at this point, I have a free gift for anyone who's interested. It's called The Joyful Path. 6 Keys to the Joyful Path. And if you go to my website, which is empathevolution.com, you will see a place where you can register to receive it. Also, private sessions and online programs is really what I have going on right now available. The workshops are more in person at this point. I have a community in Facebook called Empath Evolutions Community. It's a private group. You can join that. And let's see, as far as online programs, I have a couple that I love, but the one I really love is, and I love the most, is Embracing Your Path, which is 12 different classes and files that you can work with with links and at-home directives for you to go into. It goes into intuition, energy skills, healing, spiritual laws. It's awesome. You can find that on my website under online programs. Private sessions with me is really more me meeting you where you're at. What are you running into? What would you like to learn? So I customize that based on what you need. And typically, if we need energy healing, I will move that into the equation. But I'm there to empower you to learn the skills and to go deeper into your own healing. Some of that, I look at all of it as healing, as spirit driven, but basically I'm talking to you, or then I'm doing energy healing with you, and then I'm giving you some things to do at home. So most of them go over 3 months, like 2 sessions a month. Those are called awakening sessions. And then I have a package of just 2 emotional empowerment sessions, and those are an hour and a half. But again, you can find that on my website. I have many clients at this point, and I have one client came my way to help me with my business. And she sat down, and I realized pretty quickly she was very empathic. I said, "You do know you're an empath?" And she goes, oh, what's that? So she took the 30 traits. She started looking. Then I started explaining more. And she had been in therapy for years, 3 years. She said she learned more with me in 1 month than she did over 3 years of therapy. So
Yeah.
there's something to be said for, talk is okay, but healing and energy and skills is a different, like we're not, as human beings, we're multidimensional, we're multifaceted, we're not logical. Like the healing is not logical. It's just when someone can put a spin on what's happening to you that makes sense now, you don't feel so, you have other answers besides what the psychological community would typically give someone. Now we're looking at energy smarts. What did you, so it's a different component. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what I have to say about all that.
All right, that's great. And again, your website is www.empathevolution.com.
Yes.
Right. So,
yeah.
so everybody, you can find Michelle there, and the free gift will be here. So you'll have access to that. And it was so nice having you here today. And is there anything else you want to finish with?
No, enjoy your day, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye, Michelle.
Bye.